But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the
You did. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
That's right, Brett Walsh. Welcome back, boys and girls, to the 81 square meters of the best volleyball coverage on the internet. This is the 9x9 episode 136, Everett. My name is Rob St. Clair, live from a random hotel room just outside of Washington, D.C. That is Everett Delorme, live from Toronto as usual. We're back. Everett, you're back from Doha in the Middle East. It looked like the Beach World Tour Finals was an awesome time.
It was. Yeah, back from Doha.
You rode a camel?
I did. I am severely jet lagged. I honestly have no idea what day or time it is.
I should have said that. It is Tuesday, December 10th, 2020.
Yeah.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to figure it out, but it was an awesome time. I did ride a camel. Usually these events start like I have to be at the courts at like 7:30, 8:30, but this time the matches didn't start until 1,
Wow,
which was
that's
great. So it
special.
allowed us a little bit of time to sleep in or not. Jet lag when you're 8 hours away like that is crazy. Like I barely slept. And the first few days, I think I got like 8 hours of sleep collectively in like 4 days. But yeah, it allowed us to do a little bit of things. So I went to go see the Museum of Guitar, also rode a camel. We bounced around. It's called dune bashing, where you just they have to take a course for this and literally kind of go to school and get certified, but they just whip you around the desert in an SUV, and it's a wild, wild time. I know DeFrito Media, my boy Daniel Fritas, filmed some stuff, and he's going to be putting up together a little vlog from our extracurriculars. But no, Doha was great. Yeah, Doha was great. It was just a really nice cap off to what was kind of a crazy end to the beach season.
All American women's finals. I saw.
All American women's final, which was great. And then in the other one, we've got one of the best rivalries in I think beach volleyball of all time, with Norway and Sweden going down. The Olympic champs taking on the other Olympic champs. And this time it was Sweden beat Norway earlier in the week, and then next it was Sweden. Those two teams have never won back-to-back matches in the same season against each other, and it's really building up to be one of the best. I mean, the best rivalry in the sport, hands down. So just a lot of fun stuff going down, and then just also the quality of content that as this team is growing on the beach side that we're able to put out. It's really fun to see that the players are really starting to enjoy it and are really appreciative of it. And I think we're telling a much better story. So if anyone ever doubts about what Rob and I being sellouts in a way, just take 2 seconds and go over to the Beach Volleyball World Instagram account and just see the difference in what it is from Ostrava to Vienna to all the way to Doha, and just how we're covering it that way. There's a massive difference. So there's a massive shout out to everyone being a part of that team over there, because it's way different than it was before, and it's something that I think we're pretty proud of. But
you should be. It is transformationally different, even for me not being a beach fan. The quality of coverage is just tremendous, and it's perfect to use this fall winter end of the beach season as a trial to roll out a lot of new things, because Everett, coming up this summer, as was announced today, we're gonna be rolling that a lot of that same stuff out on the indoor side, boys and girls.
Go.
As of this morning, the Volleyball Nations League schedule, hosting sites, the whole thing, it is all announced except for the finals locations. But we've got it all. We've got the schedule. We've got the new format, because there's 18 teams now on each side. We've got the host sites, most importantly. We got the women's up here first, Everett, and a big one up in your neck of the woods, in your country, in your hometown, actually. The women come to Ottawa this year. Not the men, but the women. It's the last year of TD Place, right, before they tear it down?
Yeah, so this will be the last year of VNL at TD Place. We'll see if it comes back to Ottawa in general, but Ottawa's been the only location to host every single year of VNL all the way back to 2018. Now, in 2020, it was supposed to be the women. Obviously, that didn't happen because of COVID. But other than that, it's always been the men. So this is going to be a little interesting having the women there. I will say that the draw for some of these women's teams isn't necessarily there in Ottawa, and I'm going to be very interested to see how attendance does. Now, it once again, you do have that continuity in Ottawa, so you're going to really see. But like we've seen in the past, what big teams like the United States do to the
Italy,
numbers.
France.
Exactly. So when you look at the teams here in Ottawa, Japan, Netherlands, Serbia, Dominican, and Bulgaria, might be a little bit of a difficult of a sell. We know that the Serbian fans show up and
True.
they out cheer the Canadian fans in the most part. But yeah, it'll be a fun farewell to TD Place, and we'll see what happens for the future of VNL in Ottawa. But I do know for a fact that Volleyball World loves having this event in Ottawa, and I think that it's actually grown to be it's Rob. It's something that an event that we love going to.
Oh, 100%. And they just the whole staff, Volleyball Canada, the local organizing committee, like everybody in Ottawa puts on just a phenomenal event. There's a good reason why it keeps coming back there. So it'll be different. It'll be different with only 6 teams. It'll be different only running from, I think it's Wednesday to Sunday this year every week instead of Tuesday to Sunday. It'll be different having volleyball in 3 different places in the world instead of 2 every week. And it'll be different with the women in Ottawa, but it'll still be great because they know how to run a great event. So the rest of that week, Ottawa, Rio, as is tradition, and Beijing, which is cool. Where are my United States girls? Rio, that's good. That's good. If we can't go to Ottawa, which I think is dumb, I would love to see the U.S. women up in Ottawa. At least we stay in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that first week in Brazil is actually going to be a banger. Italy, Brazil, and USA all in the same pool there. That's going to be real interesting. And then the last one, Beijing, Turkey, and Poland, China as well in that final pool over there in China.
So who are the two? I guess the 2 new teams to women's VNL are the Czech Republic and Belgium. Belgium comes back after getting relegated. That bullshit relegation from a couple of years ago. So they're back. That's good news. But I mean, we can talk about it a lot more as we get into it. Especially week 1 of the VNL of the first year of a quad. I don't think you should be expecting a lot of superstars.
No, probably not. I mean, as it should be, right? Like,
yeah, of course.
It should kind of turn off. Like, I would like to see more of the stars kind of step away. Because
it's good for them in the long run, obviously.
100%. It's much better in the long run. So even from like a journalist point of view, like, yeah, you want to have the stars there, but then you can also talk about when the stars come back. And if they never leave, you don't have that opportunity to do that, right? So
good point.
Looking on to the second week, this one is actually pretty good with Istanbul. We know Turkey to be a top level host. They did Ankara, or no, wait, they didn't do it Ankara. Oh no, Ankara last year, right?
They've done Ankara, they've done Antalya, and they've done Istanbul. I'm pretty sure, at least whether it's VNL or not, but they've done big events in all these places. Antalya is the one right on the Mediterranean. I think that's where it was most recently. But I mean, Istanbul is one of the best cities in the world, period, and definitely one of the best volleyball cities in the world. I mean, they should sell out.
Without a doubt.
They should sell out every Turkey game without question, and then they should really put a lot of Brazilian history, I mean, even a lot of Canadian history for your girls that have played over there.
Absolutely.
Dominican, Belgium, South Korea, meh. But
it's all right.
That's a great event. I mean, it's a no-brainer to hold it in Turkey somewhere, and then Hong Kong and Belgrade, Serbia. Belgrade is one I'm really interested in. I think Serbia is hosting on both the men's and the women's side, right?
Yeah. Bro, I don't know. I'm holding on by
yes,
right
they are back-to-back weeks. We'll get to the men in a minute.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that'll be interesting for your USA women. They could potentially dominate there, other than a matchup with Poland. I mean, always we'll see what comes out. But very interesting, China getting back-to-back hosts here on the women's side, and then rounding out week 3, Apeldoorn, Netherlands, which has traditionally been a pretty good volleyball area too.
Yeah,
Arlington,
I like that one. They had the World Championship 2 years ago.
Yeah, Arlington, which has kind of become a spot now, and then Kanto, Japan. Where are we going to Arlington, Rob? Is that on our plans? What do you think?
I would like to go back to Arlington. It was fun last year, but very brief. And this is now, I guess, the 3rd year in a row, right? Because they had finals in 23. So that's a good spot. I like that arena. It's perfect size. The Greater Dallas area is cool and accessible. And maybe we can do some more exploring and like go into Jerry World and see that football stadium or
Jerry World,
whatever other shenanigans we can get up to. And Canada's there, so
and
that's
Canada's
good.
there. So
Hopefully
that
we
would be fun.
get another USA Canada game in person. And then Japan is good at hosting events as well. That I know we knew that was going to Japan. We didn't know where exactly. So yeah, 9 sites on the women's side instead of 6 with the new format, and we don't know the final spot yet, but we will announce that real soon. You want to look at the men?
Yeah, absolutely. Finals are going to be going down. Wait, when are the finals going down for the women? They're the 23rd, 27th
Of July. Yeah, that sounds right.
Of July, and for the men, it's the 30th to the 3rd, I believe, in and around that. It's in the press release. I don't know.
Yep. Another nice thing as we look at the men's schedule here, there is a full week off of no volleyball at all. The first week of July, there is no volleyball on either side. So there's like it's women's, men's, week of nothing, women's, men's finals. Which honestly is awesome. I think it's fantastic. Get the athletes back home, get everyone to train. Get the staff kind of reset for the week off. Like it'll be good for everyone. Get us a breather. Like get Everett to beach volleyball in Montreal that week probably. It's going to be pretty gnarly. But yeah, there's a full week off of no VNL at all for the first time, and I actually think that's great.
Yeah, no, I actually really like that. It just gives an opportunity for everyone to take a break. Everyone's going to get 2 weeks back to back to take a rest. Maybe do a little bit of training, but hopefully a lot of rest and just kind of reset to make that next push, especially too, like if you can make decisions based on your roster, especially since it's going to be the first year of the quad. There's going to be a lot of just like mixing things around and figuring things out. But Rob, you throw up the men's schedule here, and we're getting back-to-back weeks in Canada, which I think is awesome. Men heading over to Quebec City. And I'm telling you right now, if you're watching this and you're from Quebec in general, right, but specifically Quebec City, if you're watching this and you don't come, like, you will be disbanded from the Discord.
I mean, they will. They have the sporting culture in Quebec and in Quebec City that I know they're going to show up.
I feel like it. I've been to a U Sports National Championships there at Laval, and they sold out the place. The same thing last year for the Norseca Championships for the women. So I want to see the Pepsi Center can hold like 10,000 plus. Let's pack that joint. Like they try to get NHL teams in that place. That is it's a big, if they're playing with the South Pepsi, which I think that's what it still is. We'll have to see. But yeah, that is the rink out there. I think it holds like 16 something thousand.
Damn.
Right. So we can pack that place. And if you look at the teams coming to this one too, with Italy, France, and Argentina, not to mention Simeon Nikolov and Bulgaria, whoo-wee. Right, North America, this is your chance to see Alex and Simeon Nikolov play for Bulgaria early on. Like, I actually think this week is going to be fantastic. Bringing the 2-time Olympic champs to Quebec City is going to be amazing. And Rob, I will tell you right now, Quebec City is arguably my favorite city in Canada. There's so much culture, there's good food, there's so much history, it's beautiful, there's so much to do. And I know that, like, if you're looking to visit somewhere to go watch some volleyball, if you're looking to go on a little trip, Quebec City, I'm telling you guys, you want to go hiking, you want to see waterfalls, you want to see fantastic history, go to Quebec City. I am stoked for this.
Love it. I'm stoked too. If the men can't go to Ottawa, which I love, I am very excited about Quebec City because I've never been there and I've heard nothing but incredible things. And yeah, pretty good slate of teams. In addition to a pretty good slate of teams down in Rio, this has become like clockwork tradition at this point. Week 1 women Rio, week 1 men Rio. It's a no-brainer. Put them in the Maracanazinho, one of the greatest arenas of all time. The USA men go down there. So does Cuba. So does Brazil, obviously. Slovenia off some Olympic success. So we'll see about that one. And then Xi'an, China. Ooh, okay. Poland heads over to Asia. That's interesting, with Japan, Serbia, another one's Turkey, and China, of course. So the new teams for on the men's side are China comes back, and then Ukraine, who I'm excited to see.
Yeah, this one should be good. Rob, it does me a little sad that, like, it seems like Canada week 1 and Brazil week 1 are always at the same time, because if there's one event in particular that I would love that is
I was
at the
thinking the
top.
same thing.
Because especially I got to go to Rio early, like, just like a month ago for a Beach Pro Tour, and it was a vibe. I absolutely love that city. And when you're talking about iconic spots and iconic location, iconic venues, other sports have them. We don't really have them in volleyball.
Not so
but
much, no.
But the Maracanazinho is one of those spots that is legendary, right? That holds weight within our sport. So I'd love to be able to go to Brazil one day and experience the Maracanazinho in all of its glory, especially Brazil, USA.
Oh,
It
awesome.
is bumping.
I think that they should host a VNL final one of these years. I'm actually kind of surprised that Brazil has not hosted a VNL final. I think it would be a massive success.
Yeah, I mean, but their federation, I feel like, does not have the money that it used to.
Yeah,
it is not as, and I'm not talking about I know anything on the inside. This is just from my own perception of having been around volleyball. I don't think they're working with the same kind of budgets that they once used to in Brazil.
Maybe not, but if they can host 2 weeks of prelims, 1 week of finals is less matches. It's probably less overhead. So just throwing it out there. Week 2, Bulgaria, Burgas, Bulgaria. I actually am very high on the Bulgarian national team this quad. I think they can do a lot of damage early. You mentioned the Nikolov brothers. If anybody haven't seen some of Simeon's highlights, they are ridiculous what he's doing in the NCAA right now, even in preseason. But that is a super proud country, a super proud volleyball country, and they're going to get a chance with John Lorenzo Blangini coaching them to start to build a very good young group of now senior national team players. So I'm curious to see how they host a major event. Same with Belgrade 2 weeks in a row in Serbia. But the big news, Everett, obviously. Big news, Everett, obviously, is finally we're back. We are back to my home city of Chicago. Thank goodness. I was so excited about this news when we heard it a few weeks ago from the inside. Chicago hosted downtown Chicago hosted the VNL final in 2019. Obviously, the general consensus is that event did not go very well. The ticket sales were not good at all. It did not portray well at all. It was not good. But, and it's important to make this clear because it says Chicago. This event is not technically in Chicago. It's in the western suburb of Hoffman Estates, which used to host VNL. It used to host World League. It hosted the U.S. men's national team every year for almost a decade. And ticket sales always better, especially when you bring Poland into town. That's a guaranteed sellout for 4 games there. But, I mean, Poland, Italy, Brazil, Canada, China, there with the USA men. That is an all-time sick lineup, and I personally am just really passionate about that spot because that was the first place I ever saw an international game. World League 2011. USA, yeah. Poland. Poland donged us in the game that I was at. We did then beat them 3-1 the following night. But I actually pulled up. I found the score sheet, Everett. Mm-hmm. I found the score sheet from the match, the very first match I ever went to. I just put the link in the chat. Listen to some of these names, dude. June 17th, 2011. This was both Matt Anderson against Bartosz Kurek, both on the left side. How about that? Reed Pretty started for us. Ryan Millar and David Lee were the middles. Clay Stanley started at opposite for us. Rich Lamborn was at libero for us. Zbigniew Bartman was at opposite for Poland. Like Kurek and Kubiak were the left sides. Like Łukasz Żygadło, who I totally forgot about, was setting that team. Marcin Mozjonek, that giant guy, the old 7-foot guy, was in the middle. And then the part that I totally forgot about was, who was coaching Poland at that point in 2011?
Who's that?
It was Andrea Anastasi.
Okay.
On the Mount Rushmore of Stooges, Andrea Anastasi somehow was coaching the Polish national team. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, that was the first match I ever went to ever. It was it was big for me to help fall in love with volleyball at that arena, and we're coming back in 2024, and I can't wait to be a part of it. That's going to be so sick. Such a good slate of teams, man.
That one is going to be unreal. Yeah. That one is going to be unreal. It feels like that was gifted us a little bit.
For sure.
Here we go. You're going to get 4 of the teams, the best teams in the world. That when Poland is going to bump in there, but a little bit of school with the volleys. China, who I've never seen him before. So that I think it would be a little fitting. I did a bit of deep dive as well to my first ever volleyball game.
Okay.
That I so not first ever. This is first World League because I couldn't find first ever because that was 2006. It was the Anton Feleni Cup in Ottawa. Same thing as you. I literally went to that game and someone was just, you should try out for our club volleyball team tomorrow morning, and I did, and then that was history. But my first World League game was in the 2007 World League. Canada got three-donged. Yeah, Canada three-donged Brazil at the Hershey Center in Mississauga. It was a sold-out place, and in the corner there's an entire supporters group of Brazilian fans, and they had signs that spelled out in big letters that Brazil belongs to Jesus. On that, so first of all, Dan Lewis was the starting left side for Canada.
Dan Lewis played left side?
Dan Lewis was the starting left side.
That's crazy.
He scored 14 points for Canada in this one, but Jiba was on this team. Nalbert was on this team. Dante was on this team.
Dante was a legend.
Ricardo was sitting for Brazil, and a whole other bunch of guys. So we got to see some bangers in our first matches, Rob.
Yeah, we did, dude.
And now I'm stoked because I'm mostly stoked to go to Chicago and because especially those first few days, if I'm coming from Montreal, we're gonna hit some spots for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I'm now hopefully in a position to help that event be a huge success. I mean, it'll help that. I assume that Volleyball World is going to run that more directly compared to USA Volleyball the way they used to run it. But I know I will be able to pull all the strings possible to put butts in seats in that arena, and I've already started to do that as of today. So that's a huge one. If you're American, you have to get there. You have to. Yeah. Incredible 100%. Place to watch a game, and I'm excited to be amongst all the Polish fans because they're the best. Speaking of Poland, week 3, Gdansk, amazing host. Ljubljana, which I really like. I would like to get a chance to go there. That would be very fun. And then Kanto, Japan, gets 2 weeks in a row. So we got some banger spots, dude. We got some incredible spots this VNL men's and women's.
You know what? I will say that the VNL has become a viable product over the past number of years.
100%.
And it is a much better step up, I think, than what the World League used to be. Just in terms of the product and the show of it all. But now we're starting to see these kind of not iconic locations, but these reoccurring locations. And, all of these hosts are going to be pretty good, and every single one of them has a good history and is going to be able to showcase the sport well. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. Now it's up to the fans to get their butts in the seats. Right.
And yeah, you can talk about the significance of the result of the VNL all you want, but as far as the viability of the product, I think you said it perfectly. It is very real. It does really well. It's doing better. The consistency is huge. The quality is increasing, and we're gonna be at some of these places, and we're gonna do the best job we can to bring it to more millions of people. I think it's gonna be sick. I was really excited to read about it all today and see the buzz on the internet everywhere, and
yeah,
it'll be fun, man.
I think that the month of June is going to be really dope. Going to Ottawa, Quebec City, Chicago. I'm going to throw a little beach event in there in Montreal possibly too. And yeah, or you should just come into Montreal just for the weekend, just to party.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see about that. But the other thing I'm real curious about is I assume it's the back half of week 3 women's in Arlington is Wapaka. How I personally am going to do that. So we will see. All right, we have a fair bit to catch up on because it's been 2 weeks since we've done a show. I don't have an asset for this because it's not worth it, but the Men's Club World Championship is going on right now, for whatever it's worth. There's actually literally a match being played right now between Praia Clube from Brazil and some Egyptian team. I do not care. Actually, the Egyptian team is up 2-1. That is embarrassing. I'm not watching that. I'm serious, dude. It's bad. Speaking of things that are embarrassing, Lube got beat by an Iranian team. Lube Chivinova flew all the way to Brazil just to lose 16-14 in the 5th to an Iranian team. What are we talking about here?
What is happening? I need to go in and check this out once again. I am very okay.
It's insane. So
Wow.
would
Wow,
you have
wow,
ever
wow, wow,
guessed in a million years that the leading scorer of the match was Bartolome Chininiese, a middle of 21? That is ridiculous. Looks like Adis Lagumja, 17, 15 for 33 with 5 errors. That's kind of bad. Alex Nikolov, 14 for 26, 5 errors, 18 points total. Not great. I mean, so this Ali Hajipur guy led this Iranian team who is called Fulad Sirjan. Never heard of him. Never heard of him. He had 18 on pretty bad efficiency. Like, what the hell kind of a match was this?
I don't know. I don't even know if I want to go back and watch it, to be perfectly honest. Like that just looks bad. That just looks bad. Jenny Nieze with 21 is crazy. I can't find out who was starting on the left side, whether it's Botolo or Lepke.
It was Botolo at least in the 5th. Yeah, Botolo and Nikolov. Let me scroll all the way back to the beginning of the match. Lepke did start the match and apparently got yanked.
Yeah, so I don't really know. Looks like Lube just kind of blown it early on here at the Club World Championship.
Stupid. I mean, I'm not going to watch any of this tournament until maybe the final. If we get like Trentino versus Lube, or like, I don't know, if Lube loses and it's like Trentino versus Sada Cruzeiro or something like that.
Yeah,
like
I might want to check out like a Trentino versus Sada Cruzeiro match in the group stage just to see what's up. Later on tonight, we've got Sada Cruzeiro and Ciudad Volley out of Argentina. Big shout out to Sol Di Diego, who I now work with and is also the social media person for Ciudad and is arguably the hardest working person in volleyball. I can honestly say that.
Yeah, Sol is a rock star. Is she there? Do you know? Is she there in Brazil for this event?
No, she actually after Doha, she got stranded in Barcelona for a few days. So I think she's still on her way back, or she just got back. So big shout out to Sol. We got to meet Sol in Ottawa, and yeah, it's been great. But yeah, I might when does when does Trentino play against Sada Cruzeiro?
Probably on the last day of pools. Yeah,
on the
no, that's Thursday.
On Thursday. So yeah, I might watch
that. Game's watchable. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely, especially at a 6:30 p.m. like Eastern time. That's 100% a watchable match for me in the evening time.
Yeah, it's interesting. There are 4 matches today, 4 matches tomorrow, then only 2 matches Thursday and Friday before I assume it's semis Saturday, final Sunday. But yeah, this is the Club World Championship. I mean, we don't need to.
I wish it would mean more.
Well, yeah, I wish it would too, but it just doesn't. Like the event serves no purpose, and it could. Could it though? Like it's in December. It is just difficult for any team to like budget their effort within an already packed season to play a tournament that doesn't matter. They would have to completely rearrange the entire club calendar and the way they do that tournament to make it significant. And I just don't. Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, Zaxa set the precedent years ago by like turning down the bid to it, and it's never been the same.
Yeah, I mean, I know like in soccer, like world football, they have the World Club Championships coming up, and it's actually going to be in Qatar.
Do they do it every year like we do? I hope not.
I'm not sure if they do it every year, but it's at the end of the season, like where we've just reached the end. So as I'm now a bandwagon supporter of Botafogo because I went to one match, so they're my team for life. They actually won the Brazilian Championship, so they're going to be headed there. So, but it makes so much sense because as you finish your season, you win it all, and then you get, it's like Glee and winning regionals and shit like that.
Maybe here's an idea. I think you play the World Club Championship once every 4 years. Maybe you do it like the even year in between the Olympics. You played at the very end of the season, and you include all the teams that won a continental championship in the last 4 years.
Okay, yeah, and then like maybe in the last 4 years.
Yeah, like since the last one.
Ooh, that's
since the last one.
That's interesting. Let's talk about this. Yeah, let's throw together some random ways to qualify for it. So that would be dope.
That would be dope.
Make
it a 12 team, make it a 16 team event.
But imagine because dude, these Japanese teams are starting to be legit.
Right.
Imagine if we had, because last year was actually interesting, right? I was going back and remember last year because we had Hulk Bank that was actually good and Suntory there.
Yep.
None of these garbage, random ass.
Yeah, 2 Iranian teams and an Egyptian team, and then 3 South American teams is just straight up offensive. It's just a bad representation of world volleyball. It's just not good.
Yeah, no.
So I'm not going to watch it unless there's like star power or whatever. Enough about the Club World Championship. Yeah. Enough about that. Let's start in Italy, Everett. I think that would be a great place to start catching up on some stuff that's going on here. Last 2 weeks, and Italy kind of had to scramble their match schedule a little bit because of Lube and Trentino both heading to Brazil for the Club World Championship. But speaking of Lube and Trentino, Everett, an upset that I did not see coming at all. Lube beats Trentino in 4, and
This
like kind of convincingly.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying about Lube. In general, though, like how are they able to do this and then turn around and just lay an egg? Like that jet lag must be hitting them hard. Like that's a long travel day from Italy to Brazil. Nikolov with 22 points in this one, 18 for 33. So he's making an impact ASAP. Coming back. Botolo kind of struggling. Like they're just giving him so many like it's crazy. He goes 3 for 11 starting the first 3 of 4 sets. That is just bad. Whereas you're keeping Lepke on the bench, he goes 9 for 17 coming off the bench. Like whatever. But Lube looking really good in this one, other than Alice Lagumja, who 5 points. Like that's wild. How does Lube manage to win a game against Trentino when Lagumja scores 5 points?
Because Petar Zirlich came off the bench. Remember him? Led the league in scoring with Cisterna a few years ago, and then's been like rotting on good teams' benches. It went 9 for 13 off the bench for 10 points. So that helped. Eric Lepke also super good off the bench, 9 for 17, no errors. So looks like Lube did some foreigner limit scrambling. But yeah, just looks like an off game for Trentino all the way around. Let's see.
Dude, Nicoletto scored 26.
Nicoletto was unbelievable as usual.
3 blocks and an ace too.
Ridiculous. He's insane. But like Lavia was average, Raklitsky was average. Yeah, man, this is just a weird game. I don't really know what happened here.
Yeah, Raklitsky wasn't terrible. He was 12 for 22, but none of the greatest efficiency. Got blocked 3 times. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Might have to go back and watch this one.
Yeah, same. It looks to me just like a Nikolov game, and that's
22.
Great. Yeah, it's great to hear. He's a rock star, and I think we kind of forgot about him because of the injury. He didn't play at all this summer, and he's back. He's back and ready to go.
And once again, Rob, I really think that all lies like we're seeing the star power of Semyon Nikolov right now on TikTok and what he's able to do. If you add in that Nikolov to Nikolov connection, like if those two start popping off together, like volleyball world might have a new Yuki Ishikawa on their hands.
Let's just say his ethnicity is not quite in line for one of their major fan bases, but he's a walking highlight factory.
He absolutely is.
Cannot wait to see him play with his brother. That's going to be awesome. I mean, maybe he'll get a Lube contract right out of his freshman year of university, just like his brother did. Who knows? Let's see. What else happened in week 10 Superlega wise? Modena needed 5 for Toronto. Perugia took care of Monza. Piacenza took care of Grottazzolina. Milano took care of Cisterna. Like, not much.
No, not much. We can move on to this past week where most notably Perugia and Piacenza go toe to toe.
This was fun. I watched this game. This was legit. This was a very, very fun match of volleyball. Guess who was sort of a hero of sorts? I don't know about a hero, but spark off the bench, your boy Jesus Herrera.
Whoo! My best friend.
Yeah, your boy. And what was really interesting is that in the 5th set here, Perugia rocked a little bit of a 3 outside hitter thing. They had Ishikawa, Semeniuk, and Plotnitsky all on the floor at the same time.
Yo, I like that.
It took Bentara out, and it worked.
Who did they have on the right side? Plotnitsky?
Let's see. Who was across from Gianelli? It was Plotnitsky. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Plotnitsky, by the way, who had 16 points, 11 for 24, and 4 aces. This was as far as like mid-season awards, because this is the midpoint of the Superlega regular season, by the way, and it is for a lot of the other leagues. I think that's something we should put a little more thought into for next week's show. But
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's probably Micheletto and Plotnitsky are the two best left sides in the league the first half of the year.
Oh, do you want to do that for all leagues?
I think we should for next week's show. I think we should.
For Italy, we can do Italy, Poland, and Japan.
Yeah, I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
The off the top of my head though,
Women, we can do Turkey.
yeah, Micheletto, Plotnitsky, obviously Keita on the right side, and then
Yeah, for sure.
past that we would have to dig into it. But yeah, good match. It was good to see Robert Lang Simone playing back a little bit. Not a ton of volume, but he was out for a little while. You had a bad Yuri Romano game, and Bo Valenta came in and balled out. So that was pretty nice to see. He dropped 18 off the bench, 17 for 29. Pretty good.
He's one guy that I want to keep my eye on. Like, he's one guy, in my opinion, if you're DeGiorgi, what are the chances that DeGiorgi brings Micheletto this summer?
Hopefully zero.
Hopefully zero. But
it better be zero. If he trots out Simone Giannelli for every single match this summer, I'm never rooting for Italy ever again in any match. It would be just
until they get rid of Fefe, because man, we saw him. What was it, like 2022 in Ottawa, and there was no need to see Giannelli at that time, and he played every single match after that. But yeah, Bo Valenta is a guy that I really want to be able to start watching and to see, like, is he that future? Because Romano to me is too hot and cold. Right, he is too hot. He is too hot and cold, and that team needs a legitimate scorer that they can. You know what?
Romano was great in the Olympics, to his credit, and I do think his ceiling's higher. I think Bo Valenta to me is kind of Ricklitsky like in play style, and at that point, your government bestowed Italian citizenship upon Camille Ricklitsky. Just call him up, man. If you want steadiness and consistency and a low ceiling, if you
add Ricklitsky to that situation, especially with his comfort level with guys like Giannelli and with like the Lavia and
Lavia, yep, he was
ooh-wee.
It would be a good duo with him and Romano, because if you need the spark, you need the ceiling, you need the serving.
And
you get Romano
off the bench, though.
Yeah,
is my question.
It's an option.
That's a big one.
Back to this game, Stephen Marr, good match offensively, but horrendous in reception, ace 7 times.
Ooh,
tough
Marr.
one.
That is a tough one.
Did drop 16 though, and Piacenza did this without Efe Mandaraja, who's just getting back to practice after an injury. And stop me if you've heard this one before, Everett, but Uros Kovacevic hit negative efficiency. Isn't that remarkable? Isn't that breaking news?
It's wild that anyone thought he could play at this level. Like, it is unfathomable to me.
It's straight up crazy.
What is going on? Oh my goodness. Like, especially in Italy too. Like, in Poland, it makes a little bit more sense because of the game style, right? Like, it's a little bit faster, a little bit ticky-tackier. It's like a little bit more ball control style. Like, whereas in Italy, it's
you
just
have to be able to bang high balls, and he just can't do it.
Oh my God.
Can't pass either.
Oh,
can't do anything. He can't serve. Can't do anything.
Volleyball would be so much better if we just didn't have idiotic managers all over the place. Like, honestly, half of the teams in Italy are it just feels like they're run by dinosaurs.
Everett,
not even the smart ones either, too. You know, like the dumber dinosaurs who are prey.
I like that. I had a take in the Discord last week sometime when Malonza, the women's team, was on a kind of embarrassing skid, and we'll talk about them later. I think we need to talk a little more about Piacenza and Malonza being like sister franchises, because they are really remarkably similar. It's rare for teams to do less with more budget due to typically bad roster construction. So yeah, a good match for Perugia. People in the chat are talking about the struggles of both liberos. Yeah, you're not wrong. Both of their stats in this match were just horrendous. Kalachi, 19% perfect, 35% positive, ace 4 times. That's gross. He needs to retire. Sconferla, even worse, 11% perfect, 28% positive, ace twice. Like, liberos, what job are you doing here? And I know these are two gnarly serving teams. I mean, double-digit aces for both is ridiculous, but you got to find out how to pass the ball.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you're not wrong, right? Maybe Stoichev is on something. Maybe you don't need to win all the way.
Gross. Speaking of Stoichev and Verona, I watched their game against Toronto on Friday. It was a donging, and while Nomori Keita went a ridiculous 16 for 24 with 1 error, which is otherworldly, his points per set actually dropped because he only dropped 17. He needs 21 on average in a 3-dong to keep that pace.
That is his worst game so far this year. I think that's his first time he's dropped under 20.
I think it is too, and like worst is just funny because he went 16 for 24. He was straight up automatic. Just they won the game too quickly. That was the only issue with his scoring volume.
Yeah, they do have a lot of 5-setters this year, but very interesting. Verona, I don't know how to take them this year. I don't know how to take them when it comes about like, are they a legitimate team? To me, as long as they have that coach, as long as they have Stujchev, like they're just not viable. I know that comparatively the Superlega is still kind of an ancient league in the way that they play, but that's mostly because all of the coaches are old.
Yeah, that's true. I would put Verona like 4th in like the power rankings in my head. Like it's Perugia, Trentino 1, 2 in any order. I guess either Piacenza or Lube 3, but like neither of them are like reliable enough. At least with Verona, you kind of know what you're getting game in, game out. Like you know that you're going to get pretty bad reception. You know that you're going to get like unbelievable levels of out of system offense from Keita, and I mean Rock Mosic is a star, and like they at least they're predictable, which I appreciate, even though it's not like my favorite style of volleyball to watch. But they're clearly a playoff team, and they're almost definitely going to be a top 4 seed and like host a playoff series. So.
Right now, Lube, Verona, and Piacenza are all tied at 7 and 4.
Right.
Lube is actually leading in points with 23, whereas Verona and Piacenza are tied with 21.
And so the Italian Cup field is finalized, and not that there was really any doubt about this, but we know the matchups. It'll be Modena versus Perugia, Cisterna versus Trentino, Milano versus Lube, and Verona versus Piacenza.
That Verona versus Piacenza is going to be sick. 666. So I actually think, Rob, that my first ever pro volleyball match in person might be the Italian Cup this year.
Yeah, I remember that. That would be insane. Those quarterfinals are like at the very, very end of this calendar year, like the 29th and the 30th of December, and then they'll do the big event where is it this year? Bologna.
Yeah, Bologna.
Big event in Bologna in like late January. So it's definitely like looking at mid-season cups, and then we'll talk about a couple others. Anything else about Superlega?
No, I think that's about it. I think we touched it all over the place. Monza still sucks.
Monza does still suck.
Like I don't know what they were doing, being like, let's take Eric Rohrs and Luca Martilla, and this is going to be a Superlega team that's going to compete at the Champions League.
Yeah, so like people give us a hard time in the Discord about like not understanding Monza. We understand Monza crystal clear, bro.
What is there to understand?
We understand Monza crystal clear. They have they have massive foreigner limit issues. They have 2 geriatric Italian left sides, one of whom is injured, the other of whom is Ivan Zaitsev, who's just way over the hill. Their other 2 outsides are young, promising. I like them both, but neither of them can pass at the Superlega level. And they're both foreign, which makes no sense for roster construction. And they have a setter who, when your team can't pass the ball, which Monza can't, is like the worst possible option in Cachopa.
Yeah.
Like it's a badly constructed team. Like what more is there to it?
Yeah. I don't really know. Monza sucks.
We love Taylor Averill. I love Taylor Averill so much.
In the Discord for not knowing, like not understanding Monza? Who's saying this?
The Discord has grown to such a point, which is great because the growth is amazing. It's the best volleyball community in the world, but with growth comes stoogery.
I see.
It happens.
I mean, we've always had stoogeries though. Like how we've had Ronnie for so long. Like, he was in the chat the other day. Like he's
in the chat today. I think he's watching this show. Shout out to you, Ronnie. Ronnie and Haler, both our Cuban friends, I think, are watching.
I do have like a bit of nostalgia for the early days of the Discord when there was only like so few of us, but it's also awesome to see what it's come to now.
For sure. All right, sticking in Italy so we can keep this thing moving a little bit. It is the midpoint in the Lega Volley Femminile season, at least for the most part. Some teams have played 13 matches. That's the halfway point. Some are still like lagging and picking it up, and they had to do some schedule shuffling. But Everett, 13 matches in, halfway through the year, Conegliano has lost 2 sets.
My
2
belt is
sets.
terrible right now. Just absolutely terrible. Yeah, I mean, when we just spent so much time ragging on shitty organizations, Conigliano is not a shitty organization.
They're the
They
best.
are creme de la creme. That is a top-notch organization who knows how to run a team, knows how to treat their athletes, and they have a coach who knows how to do everything as well, and a roster of absolute superstars. Right? When you look at that roster, it's like, yeah, they should only be losing 2 sets.
Yep.
Like that is, they are a diamond-encrusted bulldozer. That is what Conigliano is.
I like that.
Right
wow,
now,
I like that a lot.
because they are sparkly and beautiful and tough to beat.
And
That's
terrifying. Yeah.
Terrifying. Yeah. You just, I think honestly, other teams come up against them and everything that, like, they execute so perfectly and they're able to just get it done. Like the fact that they have Martina Lukashik on the bench is absolutely
It's like probably
It's
the third
like,
or maybe even fourth left side.
like she was so impressive this year in the VNL, and the fact that she's on that, which ultimately practices for Conigliano right now are probably tougher than any of their games.
For they almost certainly are. Like they're
Yeah.
the team that they can field that isn't their starters would be a playoff team in the Lega Volley Femminile for sure. We said that about Perugia a couple years ago on the men's side. Like Perugia's bench would make the playoffs. I 100% believe that about Conigliano's bench.
Yeah,
and they're constructed flawlessly. They are impervious to foreign element issues. They have one of the best opposites in the world. They have the best setter in the world. They're awesome. So yeah, whatever. No surprise there. There have been 3 rounds of games, Everett and the Lega Volley Femminile, since our last show, and Conigliano went 9-0 in sets. Novara, Cuneo, Firenze. Come on in and get donged and get out of here. So, yeah, they're a wagon. This is no surprise. There were a couple other good matches, though, since the last show that we did. And one of them was Scandici and Malonza. And I was super interested about this. Like the 2 teams that can't beat Conigliano for whatever reason, physical, mental, talent, budget, all of the above. But I was excited to see them play against one another and see how hard Ekaterina Antropova could carry. The answer is 34 points. That's how hard she can carry. 26 for 58 and 12 errors, which is not even the greatest, most efficient game on offense, but 3 stuff blocks and 5 aces.
Rob, she's, you know what? Conigliano has been the best team. She's been the best player in the LVF this year. And
I would not fight you on that. I think she probably has been.
I'm going to pull up some of the stats right now because there's no doubt. Yeah, she's the top scorer by far, by like 20 points. She scored 293 points so far this season, and she has 27 aces to boot. She has been unreal. Yeah, she leads the league in kills and in aces.
That is remarkable. You said 27 aces. They've played 43 sets. That's well over half an ace per set. Like that. That's outstanding.
Yeah, she has been absolutely dominant.
And she outplayed Paula Egonu head-to-head straight up in this match. I mean, Egonu 20 for 59, 10 errors, a block and 0 aces and 6 service errors. I mean, I know Egonu missed a lot of the first half of the season, but this is what, her 4th-ish full game back starting. And now, like, you're turning the corner here. You're turning the corner to the second half of the year. Like, you've played 13 games. Like, it's all like downhill towards really meaningful volleyball from this point on. Like, the excuses for Egonu like getting back into the swing of it after sinus surgery, like you're just gonna start running out of those. And then,
I mean, they don't have Alessia Oro either, but
I know that hurts. But even the last couple of games that she played, she wasn't great. Like, they just got to figure it out. They got to figure it out on this team. I mean, Sila and Dalderot both like 17, 18 points. Pretty good. They hope to get Elena Pietrini back in the new year. That's a name I'm excited to see. But I don't love the Scandici team. I think their left side position is a massive problem. And they basically lost to Ekaterina Antropova on her own.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
I mean, look at this. Look at this revolving door of outside. I mean, they started Camila Mingardi on the left side. She is not a left side.
No, she's not.
and she hit 0. She hit 0. Britt Herbots was honestly quite bad.
Yeah.
Kara
Remember who-
Bajema, pretty bad.
Yeah. Just like they threw the entire kitchen sink
Yeah, they did.
out there to support Antropova. And yeah, that's tough. I mean, to be honest, Rob, for me, the LVF, I really like watching that middle of the pack. Like the Chieris, the Bustos, even the Novaras, Bergamo, Valfolia. Like that's interesting to watch.
Shout
I
out
think
to Volafolia, by the way. I wanted to bring them up. They played 2 banger 5-setters the last couple of weeks. They lost to Novara and they lost to Malonza. Like tough matches, obviously, against teams that are probably better than them on paper, but good entertainment in both. I mean, the Novara game this past weekend was 19-17, the 5th.
Ooh, yeah, that's spicy.
Yeah, that's real spicy.
Who's out here? BB or Iblira?
No, I've
Beachy.
never heard of that player.
I don't know.
Iblira Beachy, I've never heard of her. Simone Lee's been good. Camila Weitzel's been good.
Oh yeah, we do like Camila Weitzel, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Sonia
This is
Candy.
so okay. So this was brought up in the Discord. I'm glad we're talking about this game. One, what's the German girl's name? The setter, Pia Kistner. She's on Volafolia and isn't playing. So
Really?
that hurts. I think she must be hurt because she's not on the roster. Sonia Kandi had 10 blocks in this game.
Oh,
I don't know.
Wow!
I don't know how many times I've ever seen 10 blocks by an individual. That is remarkable.
8 for 13 and 10 blocks.
Ridiculous.
18 points out of the middle?
Yeah.
Yuck.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
You know who's also on this team who didn't play well in this match, but I'm a big fan of, is Gaia Giovannini.
Oh, yeah, I like her too. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was like valuable on the Olympic team this summer.
Yeah.
They also have Alessandra Micheletta's little sister, Francesca.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying is that like I have a lot of enjoyment watching the middle of the pack LVF.
Does Novara count? I think they kind of
Yeah,
do.
I do.
Yeah. So Tatiana Tolo came back from injury and dropped 36 in this match, which is crazy.
Yeah, so Busto's a fun team to watch. I really like watching Chieri. Like Chieri has the second best offense in terms of just total points scored in the LVF this year. So I think Avery Skinner is a blast to watch. So
awesome.
I think there's a lot of quality to watch in terms of like watching quality in those like middle of the pack matches in the OVF.
Oh no, Rodman's hair in the chat says that this Beachy girl, the opposite, is goofy footed. Oh no!
Oh, nothing better. There's nothing better than a just big Gronk goofy footed banger.
Do you mean nothing worse?
No, there's nothing better. I love it, mostly because it pisses you off.
It does piss me off. I can't stand reverse-footed volleyball players. It makes no sense to me. Just terrible biomechanics. It's bad all the way around. I think Goncharova, the Russian girl, is the only like remotely good player I can ever remember having that quirk about her footwork and whatever. Tough to watch. All right, that's it for the Lega Volley Femminile, in my opinion, Everett. I mean, Corneliano is a wagon, and you know how it is. All right,
it's not looking good on my side of things here. So yeah, I've watched very little indoor volleyball as of late. So if you're telling me we're good on that, then we're good.
Then we're good on that. All right, we'll talk about Malonza again a little bit later because they have a Champions League game that we need to catch up on. But before we keep it moving, a couple of things to remind you of. The first is your VBTV subscription that you all had better have by now. There are a lot of like flash sale deals out there that have been offered the last week or two. If you want to take those, fair enough. Well, we won't stop you. But if you want like the full year-long like recurrent subscription, you should use our code VS10 in order to get 10% off.
Didn't we get another code for this?
Did we? That would be news to me if we did. Well, we can figure it out later, but it would be nice to be able to offer people a little bit more of a discount, maybe.
They messaged me about it and then never followed up.
Well, bummer.
But
yeah, you all need VBTV subscriptions. You all already know this. So when you get them or when you renew them, use our code to save a little bit of money. Also, Daddy.
Ooh, Daddy.
Oh yeah, where's Daddy, boys and girls?
I was explaining to some people where's Daddy was.
Really? Were they all really confused by the segment?
They were absolutely very confused. Yeah, especially when you're working in a media tent for them those long days, like things get a little weird. And Daddy Chill was a popular catchphrase for us this week or last week. Daddy chill.
Daddy chill. Well, where's Daddy? If you want to keep an eye out for the most beautiful man in volleyball, Daddy Stankovic is hidden somewhere in the show like he always is. And when you find him, you need to comment the timestamp of where you found him in the show in the main YouTube comments after the show is over. And when you do that, you get a shout out the following episode. So last show 2 weeks ago, Everett, we were talking about Corneliano beating up on Malonza in that sellout game. And as you can see there, laying down on the ground in the background
I can't even remember if I saw that last
is
week.
Daddy Stankovic with a ponytail. I thought that one was pretty funny. Some great comments. Luca Lauren said, "Draw me like one of your Italian girls." Daddy spread out on the floor next to Corneliano.
That's awesome.
John the Master said, unrelated to the timestamp, but I bet Daddy likes mashed potatoes. And for our Thanksgiving food discussion from 2 weeks ago. Then Henry Walker says, nice to see how supportive Daddy Stankovic is of women's volleyball. Yeah, this was a good one. So keep an eye out for Daddy this show. If and when you find him, comment the timestamp. Don't do it in the live chat, you cheaters.
Yeah.
In the main comments after the show is over. That's how it works.
Have you been telling the Discord how you don't like drinking coffee? Because there's been a lot of you drinking coffee comments in the chat.
Yeah, I know. Well, like it started from me not liking the Thanksgiving meal, like we talked about 2 weeks ago. Me not really liking potatoes very much in most forms. And then people were just like going in on that I have bad taste in everything, which is not true. I am a cultured food eater. I eat a lot of different things. But I also don't like coffee. And that has also been a controversial take in the Discord. They're like, oh, you've never had good coffee. You drink all this terrible American garbage. No, dude, I had straight espresso in Italy and I hated it. I just don't like coffee. It's not my thing. More for the rest of y'all.
I love coffee.
I know you do.
Yeah, but he does caffeine pills. It's so weird. He just
I do.
caffeine pills.
Yeah, I take a 200 milligram caffeine pill every morning. That's my thing. Hey, it works for me. All right.
I mean, I take Vyvanse, so that's what keeps me going.
It works for you.
Trav Merwitter from like he's the commentator for the Beach. He's like, dude, like, how do I get energy? I was like, buddy, Vyvanse. Like, when I don't have my Vyvanse, I have no energy. So yeah, baby.
Whatever it takes. Y'all can go in on my tastes all you want. I don't like coffee. More for the rest of you. I think coffee is a lie. Coffee smells amazing and it tastes nothing how it smells.
Oh no, it
smells so good, dude. I love the smell of coffee and it tastes nothing like that. But my wife drinks enough
Saved
coffee.
by the Bell teach you nothing. Yo, Steven, that's a deep cut when Saved by the do you know this, Rob? I know you're young, but Saved by the Bell is like an older TV show.
I know what it is. I never watched it growing up.
But yeah, they're like a cautionary tale of drugs was one of the guys gets hooked on caffeine pills.
Oh, really?
They basically have to have an intervention. So
tough one. I hope that I'm not addicted to caffeine pills, but I guess if I keep taking one every morning, I guess we'll never know.
Berkay, let's do mid-season awards for next week. We can do some lists on Discord and figure out what the community says.
Yeah, definitely. We whenever we do the show next week, like, well, it can't be.
We should do mid-season awards, and then we also need to do, Rob, is like end of season awards. Like we're getting to that point, December 10th. So
like end of year.
End of year. End of year.
Yeah, we'll do mid club season awards next week on whatever day we do the show next week.
Yeah. Right. Kenny Diaper, as long as I see you in Adelaide next year for Worlds.
Oh yeah, Everett, how much older are you than me? You're 32, right?
I'm 32. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 30.
Okay, yeah. So I'm just 2 years older than you.
Nothing crazy.
No.
All right, let's keep moving. You want to hit SV League? Is that what's next on the list?
Absolutely. I mean, hey, Rob, you said it earlier this year. That's wild that it's this compelling, but it is. A lot of stuff been going down. SV League. J-Tech moves into the top spot this week. They got a nice little two wins over Veredas, last place team, while Blue Tion kind of hicked up and split with Tokyo. Tokyo's been splitting with everyone recently, though. Sakai, the Blazers, they stopped a 10-match skid, Rob St. Clair.
It's so bad.
They started the year 4-0, lost 5 series in a row.
I remember that they started 4-0. I'm like, this roster is not that good. They must have just not played anybody yet. But I don't know if I expected 10 L's in a row. That's tough.
No, like, come on. Like, To me, it's like they've got some quality guys with Schwan Van Nevens and Luca and
Luciano
Luciano
Polanski.
Polanski, but they just don't have the other like national team quality guys from Japan. And at
Mhm.
the end of the day, like while having good foreigners is good, you also need to have good Japanese players to be able to do well in this league. But yeah, JTech and Blue Tion still those top two teams. But who was it that got split with Nagoya this week?
Suntory, that was a good series. Dmitry Mazursky has been popping off. He like outdueled Namir in that second match in that 5-setter that Suntory won, and then you're starting to see a little more of Alexander Slivka as well. He's kind of coming back into almost full-time playing, so that's good news.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I wish it wasn't as much in the middle of the night, just to be able to watch it more. When you look at some of the things that are happening, Namir already has 466 points this season. He has been unreal, which is just crazy. But Kento Miura as well is up with 412.
Wow. Yeah, I think right around this point in the season is where you might start to see some of the volume of the league start to hurt some players and hurt some teams. Like I know Lucarelli took a couple games off for JTech. Like there are going to be players needing a break, and there is no break in the schedule. You play 44 regular season games, which is completely ridiculous. So I'm worried about the format and its effect on some of the superstar athletes, like a Namir in particular, like the way that he plays and the volume that he takes on. Like, can he survive a season of that length? And I wouldn't blame him at all if he needed a match or two off here and there.
No, absolutely not. Like they play an insane amount of matches.
It's
46.
crazy. It's 44. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely unreal. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. But SV League, especially once they open things up to another foreign spot in a few leagues that they plan to do, like especially with the increasing popularity in Japan, you know that Japan's probably getting a few more better athletes starting to play volleyball with third foreigner spot. This could get very interesting.
And like as far as I know, I don't know any of the details, but it seems like Japan's high school boys volleyball circuit is pretty gnarly and is like pretty well followed and covered. So
Yeah,
I definitely think the pipeline is there.
For me, I think there's a bucket list thing for me is to go and watch the what's that tournament called? Why can't I remember?
I have no idea.
But yeah, I want to go watch that high school tournament.
Someone in the chat will know.
Yeah, for sure. Kenny Diaper will probably will probably tell us.
All right, I didn't actually watch any SV League in the past week or two, so I don't have any more to add on this. It was just like pulling out some major storylines.
The Haruko.
That's it. I've heard that before.
Yeah. When does that go down?
I don't know.
You guys let us know. No, I was sorry. I was mostly asking the chat. I wasn't
first week of January, says Kenny. That's pretty soon. That's real soon.
No, the spring national tournament of Japan. Okay, so it's in the spring.
Cool. All right, let's move on. A league that I have watched at least a little bit of the past few weeks. It is the Superlega, and we are at the midway point, Everett. So the Polish Cup field is set. We can talk about that in a little bit. But there have been some pretty big results the last 2 weeks or so. A lot of 5-setters, a couple of upsets. The first thing I did want to bring up, though, is a piece of bad news, and that's that you've probably seen it on social media. That's the loss of Quinn Isaacson for Norvik Chenskakova. He broke his finger in practice, going to be out 6-8 weeks ish.
I've seen 6 to 8. The initial results I saw was 6 to 8 weeks, but then I read something recently that might actually be closer to 3 months, which is honestly such a huge blow. Quinn Isaacson has been such a revelation for Norvik this year, and also like. Dude, he's only in his second year of pro, which you see what he did with San Jose last year, bringing that team. Now they're in the Champions League basically because of what him and that team were able to do and what he's been able to do with Norvik this year as well. It's a really big blow for that team, but they're still able to pull some up. And instead, we did get to see the return of none other than Lucas Gigaldo.
Yeah, I was not expecting to ever see Lucas Gigaldo ever play in the Superlega ever again. How old is that man? Is he 40? I feel like he has to be. I don't know this. Hopefully we have some Polish people that are watching that can let us know in the chat, but I'm pretty sure that Zagadwa was working in the front office.
He was,
for one of these teams. It may have even been Norvid.
Yeah, he works for North. Like he's I think he's like their general manager or something like that. And basically
sports director. That's it. Yeah, so he was in the front office. That's awesome. Yeah, dude, he was born in 79. He's 40.
Wild.
He's 45. That's crazy.
He got a block too.
Wow. Credit though to Tomasz Kowalski, who is their actual backup setter and who will now start at setter for them for a little while, because he's come in a few times this year and has played well. And Norvid had a good couple weeks. I mean, well, they lost in 5 to Gdansk, but then they beat Skra in 4 to get 3 points and like guarantee themselves that Polish Cup spot. So Patrick Indra is still popping off. Like they're still gonna be good even without their starting setter. I mean, Indra had, Jesus Christ, 32 in 4 sets.
Yeah, this dude has been gnarly this year. Yeah,
51% efficiency. Come on, man.
Yeah, I think he's still the top scorer in the league. He's holy shit. He has 350 points already this season. How close do you think the next highest is?
Probably not over 300. It might be like Chizoba at like 290.
Filipiak is 288.
Whoa.
Chizoba is 267.
Whoa.
Patrick Andrews scoring at a 5.56 points per set.
5.56 points per set in the Plusliga. That is bonkers.
No one else is over 5 points per set.
Yeah, that is bonkers. That's crazy. He no brainer for best opposite in the Plusliga midway through the year.
Yeah, his efficiency is actually way higher too. He's rocking a 41% efficiency.
That's about what I would have guessed, and that is a crazy high number.
But like everyone else in the top 5, about up for is the next highest, and he's 34%.
It's a hell of a season, man. That's really, really impressive.
And when you pair that on to the fact that Lucas Vecina is also the top receiver in the Plusliga this year, he's ahead of Perry Haas and Tilly. That Czech team being on the outside of Nations League right now is almost a crime. We have China in the Nations League, and we couldn't have the Czech Republic with Vecina and Indra, and I'm pretty sure there's a few other guys who are doing some really good stuff right now. Hadrava, of course.
I knew you were going to do it.
Because the reality is Indra is still Indra and Sotla are fighting for that second spot for the Czech team behind Hadrava.
Hopefully, because there will be a team relegated from VNL this year, and then there won't be a Challenger Cup. It'll just be like the next highest team in the world ranking. So maybe if like China or someone like that gets relegated, then maybe Czech is next team up, because it would be good to see them put a full national team together. More Plusliga stuff. Bunch of 5-setters, including good teams. Warszawa beat Skra in 5 a couple weeks ago. That was a banger of a game. I think that went super deep in the 5th. Let me pull up that stat sheet. That went 17-15 in the 5th. Warszawa pulled it out. Kevin Tilly, MVP. Bolanj had 23. Tilly had 16 on phenomenal attacking and reception numbers. And Amin was pretty good for Skra on 21 points. Kiyunzic 19 points. Wasn't quite enough. That was a fun game. I watched that. That feels like forever ago. I guess that was like 2 full weeks ago. Zaksa beat Resovia in 5. That was huge. Zaksa actually probably should have won that match in 4. They won the first set 25-11, which was extremely embarrassing for Resovia, but it ended up being 20-18 in the 5th, so that was a banger as well. Stefan Boyer was good. Bartosz Bednors was good. Bartosz Kurek for Zaksa was very good. That was nice to see. So yeah, Zaksa is 5th in the league. They're in a Polish Cup spot. We saw David Smith play for the first time in a while and went 7 for 8 attacking. So that was cool. Love that.
I actually think I watched a little bit of that one. Also, JW, a nice little 3 dong on Zawiercie this past week. That's one.
And a 3 dong on Lublin the week before. I mean, they went 6-0 in sets against 2 of the other best teams in the league the last 2 weeks. That is impressive.
That is impressive. I mean, I know you're real high on Zawiercie. You think that they could win the league and possibly the Champions League as well, but they were not in this match at all. JW led by Thomas Fornal, 15 points. Timothy Carl, and with 13 as well. Just too much for JW.
Yeah, and then the following game, the game before, JW 3-0 Lublin, Leon good, Sasak good, nobody else was good. JW had a good Fornal game and an excellent Timothy Carl game, 14 for 18 with no errors, which is unreal. Not great reception. He's still getting targeted a lot in reception. That's going to be like a pretty consistent issue for JW's like second outside hitter not passing the ball well enough. But if Carl goes 14 for 18, all good.
Love that.
Yeah, very, very impressive 2 weeks for them. Are they on top of the league now? Yeah, they are.
They are.
Them and Warszawa. Warszawa needed 5 sets against Suwałki. That I wasn't expecting. And then, Norvid 3-1 over Skra. We kind of already talked about.
We did. You want to move on to the Polish Cup?
Yep. So the Polish Cup is set. The Polish Cup is an interesting tournament. It's not like top 8 like the rest of the leagues. It's actually top 6, and then you get 2 teams that play in from the second league, and actually even the third league. I think there are a bunch of like preliminary rounds that produce 2 teams that get to play against the big boys, which is cool. So JW and Zawiercie will get to play 2 of those like lower teams that play in, but then you get Lublin versus Norvid and Zaksa versus Warszawa as first round games, which are going to be awesome. Very, very fun games.
Yeah, I really like that. The Lublin and Norvid game, I think, is a really good one. These are 2 teams that have surprised everyone coming up. Patrick Indra, who's been, obviously we just talked about being the best scorer of the league so far, taking on Leon. And I mean, these matches don't happen until end of February. No, that's still probably a little bit. Well, we'll see. There is a possibility that potentially Queen Isaacson could be back for Norvid in this.
That would be big,
right? Because that's way more than 10 weeks away.
Yeah, that would be big,
especially since he got injured last week. So you're still you're a week into that. You have all of December and all of January, and it's like mid February. So he could potentially be back. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be playing, but that would be big. And on the other side of that, for Warszawa, Zaksa, that's going to be a dope matchup too. It's going to be interesting to see. Rob, we were a big fan of the Angapeth to Zaksa movement. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. It looks like he's going to be signing for Fenerbahce and playing down in the Everett League. He's signing for a year and a half for over $1 million.
Really? I didn't know that news. That's very interesting. I mean, certainly got familiarity with the Turkish league, and I hate transfer rumors mid-season, but I mean that one's for this season.
This one,
so
that's relevant. That's why I'm bringing it up.
But I have heard a lot. I've heard a lot about the Turkish league and teams in the Turkish league spending a lot of money. Lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, they like their sports, and especially when you've got Fenerbahce. Like Fenerbahce is probably one of those teams that can do it on themselves because they're not just volleyball.
Yeah, huge.
Right. And they understand the magnitude of having a 2-time Olympic MVP just in terms of the marketing. Right. And that's something that that club can actually do because they can dip into budgets from elsewhere and justify a player purchase like that. But also good for Irvin for getting that bag.
Yeah.
I like that. Hold out. Go get a bag.
Well, yeah, it's going to work out for him. By the way, these Polish Cup matchups, Norvid beat Lublin 3-1 already this year. And Warszawa 3-donged Zaksa in the very first game of the season. So that is like ancient history at this point. But those 2 teams do actually play in 2 days. They play on Thursday this week, and that will be like more of an indicator of what that Polish Cup game might be. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah. People saying that Lublin needs a massive OH update.
Yeah, I mean, Benny Tweenstra has come back to earth in a pretty big way after a good start to the season. And I actually kind of like their guy, Mikołaj Sawicki, who's their backup. I would like to see him play a little bit more, maybe. But that definitely is a weakness for them. And they have I mean, Lublin's had a lot of tough games the last few weeks, and they got donged by JW. They lost to somebody else who is good, and then they have Zavierche on Saturday, so it doesn't get any easier.
Yeah, we're starting to see that cream start to rise to the crop in the Plusliga. There's a lot of like muddiness early on, but I think those teams that have really impressed us, like Lublin and Norvid, have started to cool down a little bit. I do think that they're both like playoff teams, and they're still going to hold on to that. But there was a point in time where like Norvid was the hottest team in the league, and there's also a point in time where Lublin was leading the Plusliga as well too. But
Yep.
now we're starting to see JW really start to be good, and surprisingly enough, for Shava, been really fantastic this year as well.
I don't think that's that surprising. I think that's a damn good roster. I really like that team. I think that's a damn good roster, and they are going to be a contender in Champions League for sure. I think that team's well built and their ceiling is very high. And shout out to Jan Firle, who is a very good and underrated setter.
Yeah, I agree. I think he should have been the backup for Poland, but hey,
I also agree.
I'm not Gerbich.
Very few people are. All right, there have been at least one full week of Champions League since our last show. The men all played last week. The women have played today, and there was one very interesting women's match from 2 weeks ago that we haven't covered yet, and we will. But last week, week 3 of men's, we were expecting to see some pretty good matchups, and we saw a couple. There were a couple good ones.
Milano and Zavierci was I actually watched.
That was a fun game.
That was actually a really fun game. I really enjoyed that. I didn't think Milano was actually going to be able to run with Zavierci the way they did, and they did pretty good. Fair Riegers, man, that dude is pretty.
He is so darn good, man.
He is good at volleyball.
Yeah, for
he knows
real.
how to volley that ball.
33 points for Riegers against Zavierci.
Yeah.
28 for 41, 3 blocks, 2 aces. He is carrying as best he can, because next highest was Yassine Luati with 13 on like not really great numbers across the board. I think the thing that kept Milano in this game was serving. 10 aces, 10 to 26, 10 aces, 26 errors is pretty bad, but it's better than 5 aces, 24 errors for Zavierce, who I expect to be a bit better of a serving team than that, although volatile skill, obviously. Aaron Russell is super good for Zavierce, 19 points. But that was a fun match, and I'm really excited for those two to play again.
Yeah, me too. I am definitely excited for that rematch as well.
We had 2 reverse sweeps as well, and like kind of lower level games. But Rusalare came back to reverse sweep Innsbruck from Austria, and then Sofia, the Bulgarian team, came back to reverse sweep Chaumont at home. And Chaumont has now been reverse swept twice in 3 games in Champions League. That is bad.
And so, Rob, this is kind of where the Champions League is actually a little intriguing to me. And once again, it's kind of like the LVF, where that cream of the crop at the top isn't all that interesting, because you just it's going to be, other than like the random match like Zavierci versus Milano, that's actually good. But these in-betweener leagues competing against each other, is super interesting. Also, we saw Gießen really push.
That was a fun
Monza.
match too.
Monza there,
yeah, grabbing a point from Monza at home. That was a fun match.
Yeah,
your boy Jory Mantha had an awesome bit on the sideline. Like, did you hear him say this? He's like, on the sideline, I think they were down 2-1, and they were down early in the 4th, which they came back to win. But Jory's like, we have no effing energy right now, boys. Come on, we have nothing to effing lose. Let's effing go. It was awesome. Like, crystal clear on the mic at the timeout. It was so great.
I'm pretty sure I heard that, or I saw a clip of it, and that is nostalgia. Jory is the type of guy who he is like, he never takes anything seriously, and then he'll just snap, and everything's the most serious in the world. It's hilarious. But that was a fun moment. Jory and Ethan Champlin as well.
Yeah. And Jory played a little bit on the right in this game. They did some moving around. Yeah, Champlin is a baller, and then we saw Nick Slight, the Grand Canyon setter from last year, came in late in the game and was super good too. Like, he really helped them win that 4th set, which was worth a point in the standings. So that match was fun.
Yeah, like, well, once again, like, it's these fun ass matches. Although like you wouldn't get this normally in like what I would like to see in terms of the Champions League. But like, I want to see more like for likes. Like, I want to see more 3-setters against random ass countries, and then I just want to see Italy. Like, let's bring Russia back into the fold. Like, come on, and then yeah, if only we could have if we had Russian teams, you just made one division, like Italy, Russia, and Poland.
It would be gnarly, dude.
Ooh!
I haven't watched that much Russian ball like matches this year, but every time I see a clip, it's pretty sick. I mean,
Oh,
yeah, this week though, 10 matches, 6 5-setters. Like that
love
was
that.
a fun. I didn't watch any of Mosaic versus Ljubljana. That is that one failed to garner my interest. But I did watch the end of Chaumont and Sofia, and that crowd in Bulgaria was awesome. They were popping off, and I really think that crowd willed Sofia over the finish line in that reverse sweep. That was big. And then I didn't watch any of Olympiacos versus Fenerbahce. That was on Thursday, but I did see the 37-35 fourth set.
Okay.
Which is pretty sick.
Yeah, once again, I didn't get a chance to watch any Champions League because I was working my butt off. But I am excited to watch more this year now that, I have a little bit more time.
Yeah. Perugia donged Halkbank as well, like that. I was hoping that match would go longer because while it was a 3-0, it was actually pretty good ball. It was 29-27 in the second. Shotola was good. Halkbank looked like decently balanced and somewhat complete, more so than I've seen them so far this year. And Perugia had good numbers and Halkbank hung around, although 23 service errors in 3 sets is a lot. But Bentara was super good. Ishikawa and Plotnitsky were both super good. I'm not surprised that Perugia won, but it was a pretty good match. And then I did watch a little bit of Warszawa versus Berlin, which was also a donging, and that match was also a little bit better than the scoreline suggests. So that Linus Weber out of nowhere, 20 points on like amazing numbers.
I don't know if this has been out of nowhere this year, Rob. Linus Weber has not, like, he looks rejuvenated. He looks better. We've seen him drop 20 on a number of occasions now.
When he plays, he's been pretty darn good, and he hasn't played every game. He's had a couple stinkers, but he's had more of those like explosive wow games than I would have expected. A couple big ones in the Plusliga, like we've talked about in the last month or two.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, he's been good, but you do still have Bolange over there. But Bolange and Weber might be as good as you can get as an opposite pairing, kind of in the world. Like the only one I can think of that goes maybe better than that is Bentara Herrera.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of, or like maybe Riklitsky Garcia, but I think that those are better than that.
I think I'd slot those two in at third.
Same, yeah. Bolange Weber is a pretty gnarly duo.
Yeah.
All right, I have nothing else to talk about men's Champions League, and I don't have an asset for women's, so we're just going to keep this up on the screen. But there's one match. Well, I'll set the stage. Week 4 women's is going on right now. There are a bunch of matches today. Absolutely none of them were interesting. It's Ajbasha 3-0, Vakifbank 3-0, Corneliana 3-0. So like whatever. Fenerbahce and Malonza both play tomorrow. But there is a match from week 3, Everett, that we have to catch up on because it happened just after our last show. And it was Malonza getting like embarrassingly donged by Vakifbank Istanbul. And this match was not good. 19-18-17. Not close at all. I know that Alessia Oro didn't play. But I'm running out of excuses for Malonza at this point in the season. I really am. They just have to be better than this. This is a terrible game.
They just don't have it on the left side. That's what it comes down to. Like they just do not have it on the left side, which is weird. Actually, no, I'm going to take that back because Niga Daldorop has been really good.
So she was very good while Egonu was out.
Yes.
But in this game, she was horrendous. She went 7 for 20 with 6 errors. And it's crazy that so many of these Malonza players played for Vakifbank at some point in the very recent history. Egonu, Daldorop, who else? I guess just those two. Then you have Katarina Bossetti on Vakifbank of all places, and she's like outplaying some of your outside hitters on your team. Like it's pretty crazy to me. Like the Vakifbank does not have the star power that they usually do. Malonza should win that match on paper 10 times out of 10. And they get yes, and they get donged and never get to 20. I mean, position for position. Like Paula Egonu is better than Kira Van Rijk, although that wasn't the case in this game. The only thing that Vakif Bank really has going for them is that Marina Markova is a monster. And that is something that Malonza really doesn't have, is a left side of that caliber.
Dude, like I think you're underestimating how good Markova is. And
She's
like,
awesome.
It's clear that she's taken a step up because she wasn't this good for Novara this year, right? She was at Novara, correct?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. So like she's clearly taken a step up for Vakif Bank, but yeah, I don't know. Right now, this is just not a Milano team that looks to me as like it's going to do anything of substance when it comes up to good teams, right? I think they're going to be able to bounce inferior teams quite regularly, but when it comes up to beating Conigliano, beating any of the Turkish teams, that's where they're going to struggle. Unless Ogonu turns into Ogonu, right? But
that's got to happen soon. That's really got to happen soon because she has yet to have a single like Ogonu-like match since being back, and the next time that they play Vakif Bank, it'll be in Italy, and they have to show up better. They just have to. And I don't want to hear the backup setter excuse because Vakif Bank also had a backup setter in. No John Suozbai. Tough one. I mean, you can't even get to 20?
Gross.
Dude, 19, 18, 17. That's bad.
Yeah, that is bad.
Berkai says that Vakif Bank's middles are better. I think they're a little bit better. Yuan Jinwei is awesome, and Zara Gunesh looks pretty healthy at this point, and both of them had good numbers. But you have Anna Denesi, who is an absolute superstar, and then like Hana Kurtagic is a good prospect. Like Laura Hireman is a veteran. Like they shouldn't be getting circles run around them in the middle. So. Yeah, Malonza, figure it out. Stefano Lavarini is their coach now. I think that's been forgotten a little bit. He needs to figure it out. Just not impressed by the last couple weeks that they've had.
Figure it out.
Buddy. Figure it out.
Figure it out.
All right, there is one more thing that I think we need to cover on this show, and then we can get out of here. It's been like an hour and a half. It is the NCAA, Everett, the women's NCAA tournament. We're down to 16 teams. The first two rounds were this past week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There was some very fun volleyball played. There was so much of it that I couldn't possibly watch every game, but couple upsets, couple banger matches, couple big storylines, and then a Sweet 16. Well, I mean, they can't call it the Sweet 16 because that's trademarked for basketball, but I can call it the Sweet 16. Very, very fun games going down this Thursday and Friday, and then the Elite Eight this Saturday and Sunday. I guess we should start with some of the upsets from the first round. Big shout out to Loyola Chicago, 3-0 over BYU in the first round. That was pretty sweet.
That was pretty sweet. And it's funny because, I was with a bunch of Americans in Doha. We were discussing, like, I don't think, like, as amazing as the NCAA women's volleyball tournament is, it still doesn't quite have the random effect, the randomness effect that the men's tournament does, right? Definitely. Because I guarantee you're going to see the majority of the same in the Final Four that we've seen. Like, it's going to be some combination of Nebraska, Wisconsin, Pittsburgh, Texas, maybe a Stanford in there. And, because even a team like SMU has been the giant killers all year long. They took down Nebraska.
They swept Nebraska early. The SMU has a bunch of like mega huge wins.
So
and then some.
They took Pitt when they defeated it at the top of the league. Well, so they got bounced early.
They lost 3-1 to Mizzou, which makes no sense.
Made no sense as well. Shout out to the Dayton Flyers who qualified for their first Elite 16 by taking down Baylor 3-2. Just Ole Miss taking down Florida State.
That was a big one.
7th as well too. So starting to some of those upsets, and you do like to see it on the non-upset side. We did see Nebraska win their first round match in their first set, 25-3. 25-3.
Yuck. That's so
yuck.
How is that even possible? Yuck. Like, obviously they have way more talent, physicality, everything, but like 3, like you miss 4 serves in a set. You can touch the net. You can, hit a ball out of bounds. Like it's crazy.
That's really where this Nebraska team, I think, thrives, is that they just really don't make that many errors. They put on a lot of pressure onto other teams. They don't really go for aces, but they do serve tough. And they dig a lot of balls. They're really, really good at initiating rallies, and they're just really good. Like, they don't try to go too much for too much. They don't really rely on one player. Like, they're stacked across the board, like down the middle on the right side with Maris Beeson, on the left side with Harper Murray. Like, they're a really interesting team to watch, but mostly be how they just dictate the pace of games. And you're seeing that especially with the way that they beat Wisconsin this year too. Like, they just controlled the best offensive team in the country on 2 occasions.
Yeah,
right?
Nebraska is a skill team. They're an insanely high skill team, but there are some physicality teams like Wisconsin, who's in Nebraska's region, like a Pitt, who has Olivia Babcock, who I absolutely love. I think she's like the most has like the most physical potential at the international level of anybody in the tournament. I love watching her play. Then you have Texas, who's a 3 seed, but they have Maddie Skinner, who I will never bet against as long as I am watching volleyball. So this Sweet 16 will be very fun. I also want to shout out my Purdue Boilermakers because our girls look awesome. I think that Eva Hudson is one of the most underrated players in the country. Like, she's getting a lot of accolades because of the numbers that she put up in the first 2 matches of the tournament, but she is one of the best left sides in the country. But because I think Purdue's ceiling is about the Sweet 16, we play Louisville, and I would be very happily surprised if we won that match. And I want to talk about that.
I mean, hey, we saw Louisville. Yeah, once again, exactly.
Yeah, but it's all. I also really like that Purdue, when Purdue gets a top 4, when anybody gets a top 4 seed, they get to play at home the first 2 games, and Purdue's crowd is awesome. So there was also a play that Allie Horning, our libero, made that went pretty viral on social media. She like scrambled, dug a ball, was like laying on the ground on 3rd contact, and punched it over with her left hand. You see that?
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet. So now we get Louisville, as I can put up the regional schedule. We get Louisville at Louisville in the Sweet 16. Louisville, honestly, probably should have lost to Northern Iowa in the round of 32. It went 5. I think Northern Iowa had them like 14-11 or something like that.
It was I thought it was 14-12, or 14-11 or 14-12, something like that. Yeah, absolutely. And still snuck out, just barely snuck out.
Well, I hate this. This is very annoying. The NCAA website automatically is playing audio in my ear when I go to look at the score sheet. Stop doing that.
Ew,
yeah, that's gross. I hate that. But I watched the end of that game because it went to, I think, like 22-20 in the 5th. Yeah, it did. And it was 14-12, Everett. You were right. Northern Iowa up. And they missed 3 float serves after point 14 in the 5th set. One of them was a standing float serve, like 10 feet back from the baseline.
Trust me, I'm so glad I wasn't with you when you were watching this. There's nothing more annoying than watching volleyball with Rob and float serves.
Well, there's nothing more annoying than float serves being missed. It has nothing to do with me. It's after point 14 in a 5th set in the NCAA tournament.
This year at VNL, I'm going to make Alex, also shout out to Alex. He was in the chat earlier on.
Yeah, I saw him.
I'm going to make Alex film you during a game. You were one of the most annoying people to watch a game with, because you feel the need to be involved too. We'll be like sitting back of the court and a ball will be touched, and he'll be sitting there like with the most serious face and like, yeah, that's touch. Like the line, like the international level referees are gonna look at your dumb ass on the baseline and be like, Rob Sinclair said it was a touch. Let's go with that. Like, not everything's a VLA gym, Rob.
Don't even think about it. If I see a touch, I'm probably gonna signal it. Whatever. Fight me. Louisville escaped, and that was a bummer. I was hoping that Northern Iowa would win, because then Purdue wouldn't have to play Louisville in Louisville next week. So that's what's going on. The Sweet 16, I'll read it down. Mizzou versus Kentucky, Oregon versus Pitt. Those games are both in Pittsburgh on Thursday. Florida versus Stanford, Purdue versus Louisville. Those games are both in Louisville on Thursday. Texas versus Creighton, Marquette versus Penn State. Those two games are both at Penn State on Friday, and then Texas A&M versus Wisconsin and Dayton versus Nebraska in Lincoln, Nebraska on Friday. That sets up for almost certainly Wisconsin versus Nebraska in Lincoln on Sunday, and that is going to be an absolute banger.
Already before the Final Four.
Yes, Wisconsin is a 2 seed, and that will be an Elite 8 game, and that I anticipate that game, especially like the Sunday afternoon slot, will break women's volleyball viewership records.
Yeah,
for,
that
for
one
like
that
for a
one's gonna have
non-Final
way
Four
over that.
game.
That one will have millions of viewers.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I was explaining it to some of my new friends who didn't really understand like how big the NCAA tournament was, and that it's like the NCAA tournament is the biggest spectacle in volleyball. It has the most eyes on it, the most people pay attention to it, and it's the biggest thing we do in volleyball. There's no doubt about that.
I wonder if we could compare it to the Olympics, because there are more games in more places, and probably more American. Well, there's definitely more American eyeballs on the NCAA tournament, but it is a great event. It is very well produced. It is very well covered. It is a very good entertainment product. It probably is the best entertainment product in volleyball. Everett said that for a long time. So if you want to watch it, we'll
I'm smart.
if we'll find links for you to watch it somehow if you're not in the States. But these are all on like linear TV this week as well, which is big for the sport. So
if anyone wants to screencast in the Discord at any point, that would be cool too.
Especially that Sunday game, assuming that Nebraska and Wisconsin both win, that's gonna be must watch.
Oh baby, I'm gonna treat that like football Sunday. I'm gonna go grab myself a beer, maybe make some wings.
Love it.
Just settle in and watch me some ball. Rob, there is one thing that was just announced, literally as during this show, and this is breaking news, but the League One volleyball schedule and broadcast schedule has been announced.
Really?
A lot of ESPN Plus and ESPNU, some on DAZN. There's going to be the Women's Sport Network, and there's also going to be League One live. So interesting.
Yeah, we need to do.
And that's also going to have international streaming.
Jesus, I mean, I'm looking at it right here. There are 9 different platforms that looks like League One is going to stream on.
Yikes!
9. Wow. Yeah, I want to do a deeper dive into this, and maybe like its own video talking about the American women's leagues, because there's a lot of them, and as like the teams are starting to practice and their preseasons for both leagues, both League One and the PVF, that I think it deserves its kind of own piece of coverage. But yeah, the two leagues are very, very different. That is one thing that I've learned in talking to a lot of people the last few weeks. They are very, very different in a lot of ways. And League One did, maybe a week or two ago, just secure another $100 million in funding, which is unbelievable. They already had all this money and they haven't even played a single point of volleyball yet, and they just pocketed another $100 million.
Burkai, your YouTube videos of the Sotenlar League aren't live concurrent viewers. That's what we're talking about in ESPN. When these are rocking like 1.5 to like 3.5 million live.
Yeah. Those are
on ESPN.
Very different.
Your YouTube videos from years ago that have over 1 million views, which the most recent matches don't have 1 million views. I'm sorry, right? I can almost guarantee that. So yeah, but I fully agree. The fact that there's no actual ESPN, especially like, dude, like people have seen the numbers, right? This has the average viewership for an NCAA match this year on ESPN was over 120,000 per, which is crazy. Once again, that's live viewers. Unreal. So just the growth over here is happening. But I was hoping when you're going to see this broadcasting schedule, because I know that there is certain people of the people that I work for were very interested in having League One or something like that on VBTV, and obviously I don't know anything about that. Obviously it's not being streamed on VBTV, so that didn't happen. But like, you think we would have had something a little bit better than having a random scattering across multiple different ones, and not even like you're talking about ESPNU and ESPN Plus.
Yeah, man, it's tough. That's at a very first initial knee-jerk reaction, that doesn't strike me as the best option for broadcasting.
No, but hey, we'll see how it goes. I'll be watching it. Like, we are about to open up one of the best can of worms I think we can in women's professional indoor. People say there's 3
There's
leagues.
two.
The reality is only
Yeah.
2. Sorry, AU.
But get American capital involved. Get like somehow both those leagues have figured out how to get real legitimate American money involved, and that will change the game in one way or the other. So yeah, we'll talk about that later on maybe its own video. But Everett, I think that is a show. Apologies for any little connection issues that we've had. That is not Everett's fault. Don't blame him. It's me. I'm in a hotel room. I'm on like crappy hotel Wi-Fi trying to broadcast the show. So it happens. I know we're in 720p. Whatever. Deal with it. I'll be back home next week.
We're nothing to look at anyways.
That's 100% true. 100%
Yeah,
true.
So, at least I don't have long hair now. Thank God.
Yeah,
remember that period of time? That's why we need to get rid of that opening clip.
No, we will never get rid of the opening
we
clip.
will.
We'll
Yes,
never,
we will. Yes,
never
yes.
get rid of the opening clip.
Yes.
There's no way anything will ever come up about the 9x9 that organically and that perfectly ever again. So you're going to have to deal with looking at your long hair once a show. And y'all are going to have to deal with listening to us next week, whenever that is. So join the Volleyball Source Discord for all of the action that's going on. In the
Yeah, I don't travel internationally for a while now, so we're going to be able to have a consistent show, which I know it's been annoying having weeks off, and it's just impossible to have a show when I'm traveling like that. And Rob's job as of right now is no longer as flexible as the last ones were. So yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out, but I have no traveling for events planned for quite a while.
Yep. So we will we'll see y'all next week. Thanks for watching.
Kai, I'm tired. You like, bro.
Jet lag from Doha, dog. So,
yeah. I was closer to
Kai,
you.
You complain way too much, buddy. We appreciate you watching. You complain far too much. This is nothing new. Let's get out of here, Everett. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.